In this video, I'm going to show you exactly the path that you need to take if you want to use your clipping skill to close $2,000 or more a month deals. And I want to preface this video by just clearly stating that you're going to have to do a little bit more than just clip. Clipping is one of the best ways to get your foot in the door with some type of online business and helping people make money on the internet. But in this video, I'm going to stick strictly to the whole clipping skill. And I'm going to teach you exactly, like I said, the path that you need to take to be closing these $2,000 plus a month deals with creators. Number one is obviously learning the fundamental skills. You cannot expect to close $2,000 a month deals if you don't know in depth, very detailed, the fundamental skills of what clipping is and what organic content distribution is, right? So simply stated, clipping is just organic content distribution. Usually it's repurposed long form videos like YouTube videos, podcasts, things like that. And you're taking this long form footage, clipping it up into shorter clips and redistributing it, whether it be through their main accounts or through some alt accounts that you're running or that you have a team that are running some clipping accounts to grow your creator's online presence. Now, the fundamental skills for this operation is going to be obviously video editing. You're going to need to have some type of understanding of video editing. Now, obviously longer term, you don't want to be the one in fulfillment doing video editing, but when you're first starting out, you need to have some type of understanding of video editing, because even if you're running a team to do the video editing for you, you need to understand what it is to actually get them on the right track to do good work for you. So video editing is obviously going to be a fundamental skill when it comes to the whole clipping operation. You need to understand, first of all, how formatting works, how caption styles works, how to make seamless cuts, and how to have a quality standard, right? To give you a better understanding of what I mean by the formatting, caption styles, seamless cutting, and quality standard, I'm going to open up my personal timeline for one of the creators that I'm working for that is actually a $2,000 a month deal. And I'm going to show you exactly what my timeline looks like when I'm editing for this creator. So if I open up my DaVinci Resolve, which is what I use to edit, this is what my timeline looks like. This is my workflow. This is my daily workflow for a creator that pays me $2,000 a month to clip. Basically what this is, if you're unfamiliar with video editing, is this is a bunch of long form videos that I've been cutting up and adding effects to and making short form clips out of these long form videos. Now, when you're able to do this at a quality level and keep a quality standard with your edits, and you're able to put out, 1 to 3 clips every single day for a creator, this is what your timeline is going to look like. You're going to have, multiple long form videos that you're working on, and you're simply cutting them up and making them into short form clips. And you're just adding simple things like, captions, you're fixing the formatting, you're adding some background music. But the most important thing is you're actually, making sure that the cuts are seamless. And as you can see here, all these splits in the video are a bunch of cuts that I've made throughout all these videos to make sure that the video flows the way it should. Now, obviously, I'm not going to get into a whole tutorial on how to edit videos, but I just want to give you an idea. And especially if you already know how to edit videos and your timeline doesn't look like this, honestly, this is what it should look like. If you're doing clipping from long form videos, you should be throwing all your long form videos in a timeline and cutting them up and making all these clips in here. I want to give you an idea of what it's going to look like and, the work that it actually takes to run a successful $2,000 a month clipping deal, right? Because like I said, this is what your timeline looks like. Now I want you to kind of picture how much work this takes. Usually these clips are going to take anywhere from 15 on the low end, 15 minutes, on the high end, maybe 30 minutes to make, and we're pushing out 3 of these per day. So it could take anywhere from 45 minutes to up to an hour and a half to make these clips. Now obviously I'm pretty fast at editing because I've been doing it for a while, so these take me a lot quicker and they don't take up a lot of my time. But this is only half of the job, right? Once you're done with the editing, you still have to maintain a strong account presence like we're going to get into later. So once you've learned the fundamentals of video editing, you also need to know simple account management and results-driven content. So when it comes to account management, all you're really going to need to know is, how to keep up consistency with an account, how to keep up quality with an account, how to have strong branding, and how to keep up activity and engagement. Running a successful account is honestly more simple than people make it out to be. The simple formula is consistency, quality, and activity. If you're consistent with quality content and you're active on the account, usually you're going to have a successful account. It's as simple as that. Strong branding is just the cherry on top to make sure that you're converting viewers into followers, which is super important. But at the same time, if you don't have consistency, quality, and activity, strong branding doesn't even matter. So now let's get into results-driven content, which is the third fundamental skill that you're going to need. Now, how do you stay results-driven, right? How do you make sure that your content's actually doing something? Well, number one, you're going to have to understand your client's offer, right? You're going to need to learn how to, every single client that you come across that you want to reach out to, you need to do some research on their profile and understand their offer. What are they offering to the viewers, right? What does the funnel look like? what is the whole point of them posting content? What do they want in return from the viewers, right? Then you're going to understand your client's ICP, which is their ideal customer profile. So understand who your client is targeting when it comes to their content. And then lastly, you're simply going to need to understand your client's goals. You don't want to just post a bunch of content just for the sake of posting content and getting views. Once you have determined what your client's ideal customer profile is, you need to go and do research on creators who are targeting similar ICPs. So basically, you're going to go through your creators following. You're going to train your For You page or Explore page to spit out content that is directed towards that ICP. And you can simply do this by going and liking all of your clients' posts. You can go and, see who's commenting on their posts. You can even go through their likes if you want to, but just do anything you can to tap into that market, that ICP, right? So that you're constantly fed content that is directed towards that ICP. Once you are constantly fed content that's directed towards this ICP, from there, you can have a great understanding of what similar creators are posting to target this ICP. Number two is obviously researching competition's content style, right? There's a bunch of different content styles, but different people who are targeting different ICPs, they're going to use certain styles and twist them a little bit to target their ICP, right? So whatever is going viral and that's targeting your ICP and it's based on the same goals as your client has, you need to do research on this content style. You need to understand why it's working, and you need to figure out a way where you can replicate that style with the footage that you're provided with your client. And then you're going to need to know how to tailor content style / volume according to goals. Now, this is probably one of the hardest things when it comes to, reaching out to people. Every creator might have a different path when it comes to reaching their goals, right? So you need to understand how to tailor content style and volume according to their goals. If you're working with somebody that just wants views, then you're going to need to understand that putting out a high volume of content is going to be the most important. To do this, you need to also understand and you need to communicate with your client that a very, very high quality edit and a very, very more intense edit is going to be hard to keep up with a high volume of content. So you need to be able to communicate this with your client that if their main goal is to just get 10 million views in a month, then they need to focus on volume, and you're going to need to figure out a style that you can keep up with in terms of how much volume you're pushing. So that's just a couple things that you need to look at when it comes to results driven content. I want you to keep these in mind because this is what you're going to use once you start actually closing deals. This is what you're going to need. Like I said, you're going to need to do research. You're going to need to do research on the ICP, on the competition, on the styles and volumes, and obviously your creator's goals. Once you have a good understanding of what these look like in action, you don't have any experience right now, but I'm going to show you exactly how to start putting these into action. So, all right, now we're going to go into outreaching. And for one outreach method, I'm going to give you actually something that I use a lot to find creators to clip for. And it's simply my YouTube search method, right? So first of all, what you're going to do is determine your niche, right? And to determine your niche, all you're going to need to do is figure out the age, gender, interests, beliefs, and wants and needs, right? So take some notes, figure out what niche you want to target first. Obviously, you don't need to target a specific niche, but if you want to make it more direct, then I definitely say take these notes, figure out an age / gender that you want to target, what are their interests and beliefs, and what are their wants and needs. Once you've got those notes, you're going to go into brainstorming topics within this niche, right? So for an example, if I want to target, materialistic motivation for young men, that's like the kind of umbrella that I want to target when it comes to, finding creators to clip for. I'm going to brainstorm YouTube titles that would give me creators that are targeting this, right? So I'm going to look up things like day in the life of a young millionaire, day in the life of a young entrepreneur, reality of being rich young, how I bought my dream car at X years old, right? These are a bunch of different YouTube titles that I'm sure you've seen all over YouTube that people are posting, and they're all under this whole idea of, materialistic motivation specifically for young men, right? Once I've brainstormed these titles, I'm simply going to search these titles on YouTube. And I'm going to keep in mind this criteria right here. I'm only going to reach out to people who have under 100,000 subscribers and videos that have under 100,000 views and not the best editing. Because obviously if they have super good editing, super intense editing on their YouTube videos, more than likely they're going to have a pretty solid editing team already for their short form, and there's almost going to be no reason to waste your time reaching out to them. Now, cold DMing on Instagram, after you've found a video with this criteria, you're simply going to go to their YouTube channel and you're going to find their Instagram from there. When you're drafting your cold DM, there's a couple things you need to keep in mind. Don't script your DMs. Don't sound like AI. Don't sound fluffy. Get straight to the point. Be precise, and don't sound deal hungry. Now, this is a lot to keep in mind when you're sending your DMs. But realistically, it all comes down to you need to connect with people on a human level. You can't sound like you're every other person using AI to script your DMs. You need to sound like you're not sending thousands of these DMs every single day, even though you are. You need to sound like you're not deal hungry. You need to sound like you actually want to help them. Something like this works often for me, right? Let's repurpose and redistribute your long form, bro. I just saw your YouTube and it could definitely do numbers on the short. Sometimes I even add at the end something as simple like, no pressure, just wanted to throw it out there. I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, like you're not being a good salesman, you're not going to close deals this way. But let me tell you something. I found much more success in taking the long road in closing deals than, you know, just trying to hop on a 15-minute call and try to close a deal right then on the call, right? You want to give some time to build a relationship with your potential clients, especially if they're going to be something like a $2,000 plus a month deal. You're not going to close a $2,000 plus a month deal by, you know, pressuring somebody into it. Maybe if it's a $500 deal, yeah, but when it comes to these higher ticket campaigns that you want to run with people, you need to take some time to understand who they are and they want to understand who you are. So you need to take some time to build a relationship with them before jumping into a deal. So like I said, main thing, do not sound deal hungry when you're sending DMs. And now let's get back to outreach, right? Number one, you want to have confidence in your offer. If you lack confidence in your offer and you don't really know what your offer is, you're going to come off as if the offer is not worth it at all. If you're not even confident in your own offer, there's no reason why anybody else should be. Number two is you're going to need to be a problem solver. Come to these potential clients with a solution to their problem, not just you trying to close a deal, obviously. Number three is you're going to need to target pain points, right? Ask questions with your clients. Ask them, you know, why are you not being consistent? Why is the quality not where it should be? And, you know, bring out these pain points for these potential clients so that they can understand that you want to solve their problems. You don't want to just get some money from them. And again, with your cold DMs, like I said, no fluff. Don't sound AI. Don't sound deal hungry. Build real relationships. Follow people without sending a DM right away. Give their posts a couple likes. DM them with purpose later on. If they post a story about their content, if they post a story about anything with their business, then you can send a DM and engage without agenda. You can follow people. You can like their posts. You can comment on their posts without even sending a DM. Just slowly build that relationship until they post a story that is calling for help, and then you DM once you have a purpose. So the second part of outreaching is going to be building case studies. Now, honestly, I'm not going to get into like how to build a portfolio or anything because honestly, I don't focus on that too much. The only thing you need to like worry about is that you need to record everything. Like I always take screenshots of results. I take screenshots of how my clients are responding to the work I've given them. I record everything. Record all the results you can, even if they aren't the best, just record them. Take screenshots, take videos, get testimonials, record every detail of your skill. If you make good edits but you haven't got results, focus on what the quality of your edits look like. You don't have to have results to show your client that you make really good edits. Just show them every detail of your skill. And then obviously use sample work to build case studies. And that's what we're going to get into right now, sample work. Don't be afraid to do some free or cheap work if you're going to learn in the process, right? If you can start working with a creator that you really like their content, you think that they could mentor you in some way when it comes to business, don't be scared to do some free work. Shoot them a DM and try to do some test content for them. Try to do some trial reels for them. The faster you find work, whether it's free, cheap, whatever it is, the faster you find that work, the faster you're going to learn, the faster you're going to be able to build up these case studies, the faster you're going to be able to reach out to people, the faster you're going to be able to learn all these fundamental skills, and the faster you're going to be able to actually close those $2,000 plus a month deals. So I'm not saying sample work is going to be a way to close a $2,000 a month deal at first, but you're going to use this to flow into all these other concepts that we're talking about, and that's where you're going to be closing $2,000 plus a month deals. And then number three is obviously delivery. What happens when you actually close a deal, right? And whether this is a $2,000 a month deal or not, what happens when you close a deal? You need to deliver on that deal. Whatever you promised your client, whatever outcome you said that you're going to deliver, you need to deliver on it. Number one, you need to have consistency and communication, right? Your daily workflow. You need to be working on this project every single day. When you're close, especially if you have gotten to the point, and this is a 2,000 plus a month deal, you need to be working on it every single day. You need to be making clips every single day. You need to be posting clips every single day. You need to be talking with them every single day. Daily communication. You shouldn't go a day without telling them something, without telling them how the project is going, without telling them, the results that you're giving. Be a problem solver. If you're in the delivery phase and you've already closed the deal, even if it's a free deal, and you're, beginning your delivery, you're beginning your fulfillment, you run into a problem, don't go running to the creator asking to solve that problem. take a second, figure out at least 3 potential solutions to your problem, and then come to them with the problem and the solutions. They're going to automatically see you as a problem solver, not a problem maker. And they're going to want to work with you 10 times more after that, because they see that every time you run into a problem, you're already trying to solve it. And then obviously analysis, right? Your consistency and communication should be consistent analysis, and you should be communicating that analysis, right? Every day you should be seeing, okay, what can we work on? Why is this working? What is working and why is it working? How can we continue it? If we need to pivot, how can we pivot? And you need to be constantly communicating all those thoughts with your creator. Try your best to over deliver if possible. What do I mean by over deliver, right? I don't want you to spend too much time to where the deal is not worth it anymore, but you should be trying your best to, like I said before, bring solutions, bring ideas, brainstorm, and do hardcore analysis. And you're showing them that you weren't just closing the deal just to get the money. You're closing the deal because you saw potential in them and you want to work with them. And so what are you going to do if you see potential in somebody? You're going to do all these things. You're going to bring solutions to them if needed. You're going to bring new ideas if needed, and you're going to brainstorm things. You're going to brainstorm, why is this working and how can we make it work better? You're going to brainstorm ideas on, if you need to pivot, if something's not working, how can we fix it? And all this comes into, hardcore analysis. You need to be sitting there every single day looking at your work. Why is my work working? Why is my work not working? And what can I do to fix it, or what can I do to make it better? Simple as that. Over deliver. And then lastly, obviously focus on results in your delivery. Your results are more important than you. Your results are more important than whatever creative idea you have in your head. Your results are more important than your emotions, right? Focus on the results. If you're emotional about a clip and you really want to post it, but it's just not the best, just move on. It's more about the results than what you think, right? Focus on the results. If it's making results, keep going, even if you don't really like doing it. It might be tedious work, but if it's making results, focus on it. And then I keep saying analysis, but this is super important. Every single one of these, consistency and communication, over delivering, and focusing on results, these all have to do with analyzing the content, analyzing what you're doing and seeing if it's working. 14-day trials when it comes to focusing on results simply means, spending 14 days trying a style of content, trying a new concept, right? Trying one of your brainstorms, right? Trying out a new style of content, trying out a new posting strategy, trying out a new filming strategy. Do it for 14 days. If you see some type of results, if you see it specifically with clipping, if you see views over 10,000 for a new creator, that means you're doing something right. Keep going with it, but do it in 14-day increments. 14 days, I think, is probably the best time frame to understand if something's working or not. If you're doing it any less than this, you might get, inaccurate results, and you might think that it's not working, but another 7 days would have made it work. So definitely do it in 14-day increments. And then lastly, question your work. Don't just think you're the best and you're doing the great job because results are coming in. Any day that could flop. Always question your work. Why is it working, right? You might think you're doing the best edits in the world, but in reality, you're only getting views because the content's really good. As soon as they stop making that specific content that you were doing good with, your content flops, even if you're continuing the same editing style. It's not always your work that's driving results. So you need to always question your work. What can you do that if something does flop, you can make the thing that's flopping all of a sudden do good? You always question your work. You're not always the reason why something is doing good. If you do all these things, if you take this entire roadmap and you follow it, right? You really follow this. This is exactly what I used to close, $2,000 plus clipping deals for myself. And like I showed you, this creator right here, this is what a $2,000 a month clipping deal looks like on the editing side. Just the editing side alone, this is what a $2,000 a month plus clipping deal looks like. And this is probably, I'd say, maybe 1 to 2 months of work. So you can cut this in half and say this is about a month of editing work right here. And that's not including the posting that you're going to have to do, right? The engaging that you're going to have to do, the activity that you're going to have to be on your account, right? All these things come into play when it comes to, running a successful organic content campaign. And I want you to understand that. Understand these fundamental skills, practice them as much as you can. This is one of the important ones right here. Faster you find work, the faster you learn. If you take everything in here and you actually apply it, you will close these $2,000 plus a month clipping deals. And it's only a matter of time before all those clipping deals that you're closing are just giving you referrals and giving you more people to work with just because they know that you do so good. Understand, guys, the money is out there. Everybody's looking for clipping right now. Everybody's looking for good content right now. They just don't know where to find it.